Well, that seems to be possibly working now. 15 minutes late. Well, that seems to be possibly working now. 15 minutes late. And it is. I should turn that down to there. Right, well, I have no idea what happened there. The whole system decided it was just going to not talk one part to another. So, as Kelvin said on a little bit of the chat thing that came up, stream is not that easy, is it? And I'd have to agree with that. Let's see what the actual thing on there is doing. That says it's doing alright. That's all the error messages are gone, which is useful.
It's working.
Yep. Right, well, I should just click on there and save on that, and hopefully if anybody has got a notification on it, then they can say, hi, hello, this is the 2000 hours thing happening at 2032, and yeah, it's one of those unknown events for some reason today. Having done this several times over the last, since before Christmas, basically, it decided that it wasn't going to talk to itself, which is really quite irritating. Never mind. We have to take these things in their stride. I did do I didn't bother phoning up technical support. I actually did the normal thing. I've turned it off and turned it back on again. In fact, I did it twice. Oh, Louise Goodsinger. Hello, how are you doing? I wonder if anybody we know will actually find this, because they'll have got notifications and come back again, which is an interesting thought, because it would be nice. But I think they've probably all gone off and decided to go and watch a film or something. Watching paint dry is more interesting than watching a stream not start. But having said that, all the DIY programs aren't on at the moment. Right, okay. It says there's 2 on there now, which is me and... oh, it's buffering again now. That says it's alright. That says it's buffering. Strange. It definitely says everything's healthy there. Oh no, it says it's not getting enough video to maintain it. Oh well. The only thing I could do is reboot the router, I suppose.
No.
But you're doing something, so no. Oh well.
You can if you want. Mine will just stop. Carry on again later.
I guess that's what mine would do as well. I don't know. Not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will be experiencing buffering.
I can't tell mine to stop because it says it's there synced, but it's not brought any of the video up yet, so I don't know how to tell it to stop doing it.
Oh, well, it's sort of working at the moment.
I told it to stop. I told it to pause.
All right.
2 hours, so if
Right.
it's that.
Then it should all start working now. I've just got, let's go back onto the troubleshooting page. It says there are 4 people watching at the moment at The troubleshooting page says everything's healthy at the moment. So we just know it's to come up with, now it's got a problem again. Well, I've reconfigured everything and it was working, so I don't understand. It really makes no sense at all. Try the headphones.
It's working now.
Yeah, okay. Well, I shall just go along with this. If anybody's watching, then hi. Thank you very much for sticking it out. And yeah, it's just the wonders and joys of modern technology. Kelvin's here. Hi, Kelvin. And and Andrew's hides here. Hi.
Hello, Kelvin.
Louise says hello. So right, okay. And Andrew hides here. Seems to be working okay now. No idea what the problem was. It still says there's a problem on the troubleshooting page, but if it's working on here, that's the main thing. And right, okay. So, anybody got anything they'd like to chat about? It's been a really stressful day so far. Well, it was great until about 2 minutes to 8, and then it all sort of went very, very, there's a word for it, but I won't use that, up. It follows by up.
Could you ask them about what sort of things they might like to see with 78s?
Oh, yes, yeah, that's a good idea. Right, just wondering, I've got this big box of 78s, and I did put some up on my shorts. And I was just wondering, and we were just wondering, is there anything, I mean, is there any interest in 78s? Because I'm quite happy to just record them and whack them up, either as full length or as shorts. I did start putting on, hello, so I've got a heart there. Can't read that bit. Do I have any tips on taking something off? Let's see if I can see it on the other bit. Taking clips off. Clips off what? Andrew, if you just expand on that slightly, then I can possibly give you some information that you would find of use. Because it's right underneath the heart on my one. I went onto the trouble, the uploading page, and it showed me what you were saying. But
C-clips off.
Oh, C-clips. All right, tiny C-clips. Yes, carefully is the way. What I used to use was a jeweler's screwdriver, and I'm buffering again. I used to use a jeweler's screwdriver and cover it with my finger, and try and just lever it on there. They're depending on exactly how big or small they are. I used to have, for the middle-sized ones, I used to have a very fine set of needle pliers, needle nose pliers. They were the sort of needle nose pliers that if you leant on the end, they used to make a hole in you. They were very good, but they were very, very expensive. And other than that, just normal pliers. But yeah, if you use a normal bladed, the normal ones that have got the jeweler's flat blade, they normally work. But put your finger, as you prise it, put your finger against the other side, otherwise it goes flying. That's what we had in the workshops. It wasn't really ever a big problem, because we just used to do it. But then on the other hand, we did have a box full of replacements. So this is what I find is really quite frustrating about working on vintage gear nowadays. Yeah, buffering again. Thought I was.
I've stopped.
So it's not. It's definitely not our end as such that's causing the problem. Oh, I've come back again now. No, I'm buffering again. It says on there something about I'll open the widget. It just says it's receiving a poor stream. Stream settings are all normal, and stream key's fine. It's peeking out on there. Stream health. Let's have a look at stream health. YouTube is not receiving enough. It just says poor. So I don't know what I can do about that. I think what we'd better do is just call it a day, to be honest, if it's going to be that bad. Yes, you were following the correct procedure. The main thing about all of this with the vintage equipment is, if in doubt, catch the bit that flies, because sometimes there's special sizes. But other than that, I don't know what to suggest. There used to be, we used to have special pliers for the C clips with the sort of like the little loops in them. You used to have special ones for that. They were a pig to do. That was actually easier to do. I think some people call them E-clips. About 5mm or less. This on the Sony WM. Oh, that's the posh. That's the posh Walkman, isn't it? WMD6C. Boom. Oh yes, it's one of the nice ones. Yeah. What you were saying is right. Just go with it. That's the professional ones. That's the sort that we used to use when I first got involved with the Walkmans. We were using them for data storage and stuff. And it was a very small, very neat method of doing it. So are we doing all right at the moment? Live streaming? No, it still says it's buffering, but doesn't appear to be. Strange. So, well, I shall hang on in there. We've got 3 people watching. And I was going to say, might as well go through the normal thing. Has anybody got anything specific to say? Calvin, if you've got some high quality screwdrivers, don't use them. Have a spare cheap flat blade for the job. Yeah. Don't use a knife though. I've seen people try and use knives because they think they've got, like a paring knife with the very small sharp points. They're very good at paring, but you don't really want to have your fingers anywhere near them when you're trying to prise stuff off. So I would suggest, what Calvin said, get yourself a really cheap set of screwdrivers from eBay or something, or whatever, and use those. They do the job quite well. It's like the same as, I never hit a good screwdriver, but I've got a few screwdrivers that make good chisels. And it seems to be working at the moment. So we'll hang in there for now. Kelvin says abandoned ship seems to be the way to go forward. I'll just see. The widget still says there's a problem, but the actual output seems to be stable. Weird. Andrew Hyde. Yeah, so it was quite interesting going on to things. Anyway, I'll ask the questions again about the 78s. Anybody interested in the 78s? I've got this huge box of them. They're all from about 1957, 58. You'll have seen a couple of the envelopes that they came in. I say envelopes, I mean they're really record sleeves, but they didn't come in their own sleeve. They came in a generic sleeve from the shop, which was quite pretty. I think the sound quality on them is pretty good, and I'd like to do something with them. They are real shellac, and I actually spent the money on making the turntable work. But if nobody's interested in them, then I won't bother. and I've got hundreds of CDs. Andrew says the stream is good at the moment. Good-o. Yes, it's not quite as high resolution as it should be, but it's doing all right. I can tell that because I've got screens on the sides which show what it should be looking like, and I've got the ones there that show me what it is. Right, okay. Has anybody seen my latest video? It's about signal to noise ratio. It's a short. If you haven't, that's fine. But if you have, that's even better. And if you haven't, maybe you can go and have a look, and then tell somebody else to go and have a look. Might as well promote my own stuff, I suppose. If there's anybody who'd like to click on the like button, that would help YouTube. They like to know that people like it, because it means that they bother pushing it out to other people. I've actually been getting, just out of interest for anybody who knows about these things, I know Kelvin's done the odd bit of YouTube. I've been getting retention rates up, and I've been getting click rates up, which means that they will actually put out to a few more people, and hopefully the channel will grow a little bit quicker. It would be nice if it did. And it's all through things like click-through is important, obviously. Comments, likes and subscriptions, they all add up to make the thing going. So, Calvin says, let's keep swimming. Yes, if it was we won't mention that, but it was cold where the boat went down, and they didn't have enough lifeboats, and they didn't have enough life belts either. So let's just keep on keeping on. Right, the slightly thrown my plans for tonight, but there's another video I did which I don't know if anybody remembers, but there is a reason why my channel's called Keep It Simple, and it goes back to when I first started. I had my knee replaced many years ago. Excuse me, got an itchy nose. And having had my knee replaced, there we go, Andrew Hyde, old friend of mine, used to put under that for record companies to re-release. I'm going to have to bring up that. Oh, much better picture in there. Right, okay. When I had my knee replaced, I was sat in front of an awful lot of TV, because you can't walk for about 10 weeks. 11 weeks, I think it was. Anyway, so I watched an awful lot of YouTube, and that's when I decided that I was going to start my own YouTube channel. And they all say in all these things that you should try and find your niche, and you should try and find a different way of putting over whatever it is you're putting over. And I found, obviously, as we normally talk about Techmoan, and we talk about Recordology, and we talk about VWest Life and Big Clive, and there's a few other people, which I data bits and whatever, who are very good and more than happy to sit and watch. And then there's a couple of others who really quite, I just find it irritating when people talk about stuff they don't know anything about, as if they know what they're talking about, and as if they've got authority to talk about it. And I was looking at one the other day, won't say any names, but Kelvin, does your collection have a song called Wheel of Fortune? Artist unknown. I dropped my father's copy and it shattered when I was a child. I will have a look, Kelvin. There's just a possibility it will do. Wheel of Fortune. I'm going to have to go through and catalogue them all anyway, so yes, it won't be a problem. But I shall put that to the top of the list. Andrew says, I found you in my suggestions. Well, just goes to prove what I'm saying. Because these lives and things have started getting a little bit more enthusiastic, and because I'm getting better response on my actual videos themselves, they're getting out a bit more, and things are working, which is good. The latest video I did was about the 4 types of cassette tape, which I went and watched another video, and it was a newly released one, and it was 43 minutes long, and I watched it, and at the end of it I thought, I don't actually know any more about tapes now than I did when I started watching it, other than the fact that they've got numbers 1 to 4 and 0. And it was really hard work watching it. So I thought, well, okay, let me do one. So I sat down, wrote a script, which is why it's a little bit wooden, but it's only 4.5 minutes instead of 43 minutes, and I covered everything that this other video covered. Plus, you actually found out more by the time I finished than when I started. So hopefully that one will carry on doing quite well. It's doing very well at the moment, actually. I will say that it's sitting there, it's doing its thing, it's getting more and more views as we go. And then I realised that because I did one, the most recent one, which is about why do records sound the way they do. Now, loads of people will tell you that records are wonderful and that CDs are crap and that tapes are, well, there's two camps of tapes. There's tapes are wonderful and there's tapes are crap. And I reckon that tapes are pretty good. And when you stick all of those sort of views together, you end up with a question which came into my head of, well, why does all this happen? Why is it that somebody will say that records are wonderful and that CDs are crap? And I thought, well, I shall go through it. So my latest one is, why do records sound like records? And if anybody's got any if they want to add anything to what's been said in that video, or if they want to try and find out more, or if they want to contradict me, then fine, put it in the comments. And because I'm well aware that these things, there's theory, there's actuality, and then there's opinion. Now the thing about opinions is you can't argue with opinion. If somebody says, I don't like something because, and you say, well, why? And because that's my opinion. You can't argue with it. I mean, if you try and get me to eat cheese, I will tell you that cheese is of no use to me because I don't like it. But I won't tell you that cheese is an evil food that should never be served and that it's total crap and it's something from the whatever. And I think you'll find that that's the difference between a reasonable opinion, i.e. I don't like cheese because I don't like the taste, and a biased opinion, yes, that's the one, Andrew, and a biased opinion which is just total crap. It's not opinion if you come out with total crap, it's actually total crap. So that was the sort of thing that I was trying to work my way through and find out, so that people, because one of the things I've found, and Kelvin will probably back me up on this one, but maybe not. I mean, it's always he's his own person, so he can tell me. He's got a keyboard. But one of the things I've found is that if you go onto certain Facebook groups and things, somebody will go on and ask an innocent newbie question, and somebody who is an experienced person will give an opinion that is not necessarily an opinion. They will label it as a fact, and so they can put people off. I remember going on to some of these forums and Facebook groups and things, and some of the people are really, I mean, tape heads. Some of the people can be really aggressive and nasty in the way they actually deal with people. And if you're a newbie, you don't know anything, and you say to somebody, well, so why does that happen? And then you get dumped on as if you're an idiot. You're not an idiot, you're just not uneducated sounds the wrong word. You just haven't had the knowledge imparted yet. And so, why do that? Why be nasty to people? If they don't know, it's because they haven't been told. And then you have the problem of trying to filter out the what do we used to call it? SWR grease, the bullshit, the bull droppings, and all the misinformation and the untruths and the opinions. I still come back to the fact that they sell audiophile fuses to connect your equipment with, and the fact that anybody can be finding that a useful product is slightly amazing. But apparently if you dress it up enough, somebody will pay a lot of money for a fuse. All you've got to do is tell them it in the right way, which is fine. I used to sell windows for a living, and I couldn't sell windows other than on the basis that they were good. But apparently you can sell audiophile fuses, cables. You can sell somebody a cable to connect a £50 CD player to a £100 amplifier, and you can charge them 300 quid for the cable. Yeah, this is Kelvin says that modern records and current artists have limited dynamic range as they are still mastered with the loudness war. This is one of the things that I was going to get onto. We've sort of mentioned the loudness war, which is that everybody thinks everything should be as high level as possible. This is partly because of the fact that people play stuff on their phones and things all the time, I guess. And apparently it started by people wanting to, when you tuned through the FM band or whatever, you wanted all your music to be hitting and punching hard rather than being quiet. So the radio stations got into a loudness war of being on full transmit, full deviation on the thing, and the records had to then sort of try and be as loud as they could, which is, brickwalling it, I think Cassette Comeback called it, which is a shame. It shouldn't be like that. But if you get involved in some of the super, really good, high-class classical music, you'll find that they're not scared to do that. They will actually have quiet bits. But then if you tune into classic FM, I mean, unfortunately, I only stay on it for a few seconds because I'm not really into classical music, but I do love the way that it sounds when they do it properly. I just don't like music that goes round and round in circles. Literally. Although records do that. Maybe that's an observation that wasn't necessary. So that's what I was. Does you have it? And so that's one of the things there. If you listen to, I know I've mentioned him before, but if you listen to Paul from PS Audio, he normally comes out. He's one of the few audiophiles that I actually listen to and respect, because he tends to say things like, well, if you stick that signal in there, it comes out there and it sounds as good or as bad or whatever, and don't bother doing that because it's not worth it, or whatever, which to me is the proper way of dealing with things. I am not against people spending money on good equipment. I just think that sometimes I was watching computer video yesterday, and it was about an adapter they're selling. You can buy one from Amazon for $29, I think it was, or you could buy this one from this advert, which was $89, discounted to $50, and it doesn't do what they say it does. The one that's being sold at $29 or thereabouts does do what it says, because it says what it does. But the other one, which is exactly the same product, they're telling you can do all sorts of things with it, which you can't. So it's we're back down to the shysters again and things. It's really quite. It's such a shame. Anyway, so my latest series of videos are along the sort of lines of, well, why does it do that and why does it sound like that and whatever. And as I say, I'm open to any people having an opposite opinion, and if you want to put any comments on, I'm more than happy to accept them, or try and counter them, or let you have your own say, whatever. It's not a problem. Now, because the thing that I did the one about how big things were, and I thought that was quite interesting. That 120 decibels is 100 billion times louder than the pin drop. And according to Bing, that's something I was going to talk about. According to Bing's, which is ChatGPT's connection with Bing, that's 360 miles high if you stack dollar bills on top of each other for 100 billion. And it would take 3 lifetimes, 3.5 lifetimes to count them if you just counted them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is quite an interesting figure. I was asking Bing, the AI version of Bing, how to illustrate some things, and that was what it's coming up with. Did you know? I was watching a vidIQ video yesterday, and they had a guy come on, and he said, "Did you know that I never realised that AIs can lie?" Well, did you know AIs can have a strop and go off and do something? They can decide that you're talking rubbish, and they say, "I don't think I ought to answer that," and then they cut you off, and they won't respond anymore. I'll see if I can show you it, if I can. What would you like to talk about? Let's see. Get up. Set. I've just asked Bing AI, why do AI get upset? And I'll see what answer it comes back with. I don't suppose it's going to have a particular problem with that question. But I was asking it yesterday, AI are not capable of feeling emotions like humans do. They are programmed to respond to certain inputs in a certain way. However, AI can be programmed to simulate emotions and respond accordingly. This is done by using natural language processing and machine learning algorithms. They can analyse human language and respond in a way that is similar to how humans would respond. Is there anything else you would like help with? Yeah. Yesterday I was asking it to produce an image, and it said it couldn't do it. So I asked it again, only I changed the words, because what I wanted it to do was show a chisel cutting a record. And I don't know whether it was the chisel or the cutting that was the problem, but it told me 3 times it couldn't because it wouldn't. And then it said, "I think you ought to go and do something else." and it went off in a huff. Or that's the impression it gave. And it's done that on more than one occasion, and I just thought I'd let you know. The other thing is that AIs, hang on, FB toxic, Facebook's toxic. Right, Kelvin says, Facebook is toxic and pretty much unregulated in the groups. Only 3 people run the forum you mentioned to deal with the site admin and trying to keep things civil for the user. Yes, it's actually got much better recently, that particular one I was referring to. The Facebook one I was referring to. And I've noticed that somebody that you and I used to notice isn't there so much now, and isn't quite so aggressive when he has been there. But it is a bit of a problem. But having said that, if you've ever gone on to Facebook on any other reasoning, if you go on to memories type, reminiscences and things, somebody will put up a picture of a kid standing on the top of a pole, and within 3 comments somebody was saying, "Oh, kids are wimps nowadays," and then there was somebody say, "Oh, before health and safety," and then somebody will say, "Yeah, we were so much better than they are now," and then they start romanticising about kids throwing themselves out of windows and things, and it didn't do us any harm, they say. No, because they survived. The ones who threw themselves out the window and impaled themselves on the pole sticking out of the mattress underneath, they didn't survive. They're not on the Facebook turning all the modern kids to throw themselves out of windows into mattresses in skips and things. I don't know. Maybe there's a connection, but I think the toxicity. Yeah, I think the poison I think the poison is it's the same sort of thing as all the trolls, that as soon as somebody puts on something nice, somebody has to tell them it's not. There's a reason for it not to be so good or whatever. It's just a shame. Just a shame. As I was saying about the AI, it decided that it really couldn't show me something, so I had to shut it down, open it up again, and then I asked it to do almost the same thing, and it did it. Had it got confused? I don't know. Did it need switching off and switching on again? I don't know. But I'll tell you something that it did do the other day. I asked it a question and it came back with a negative. It's a simple question. Then I asked the same question again because I wasn't sure. Actually, what had happened was I clicked on the top of the tabs, and it had taken away my ability to see what was there because I closed the tab down. So I typed the same question in again, and it came up with a different answer. So the warnings on these AIs that say I'm still learning and please check sources, it's very important you do. When I was doing my the how big's big and how small's small on the sound thing, that took well over a day's worth of research to come up with the answers, because I had to keep on cross-referencing everything. And even if you ask the same question in the same way, it will come up with a different answer. Sometimes it learns, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just comes back with the same answer or a different answer, and you ask it why, and it now there's one. If you ask it why it's changed its mind, it will either say, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake," or it will say something along the lines of, "I don't know," and then it will just shut itself off. Anyway, just a word of warning, and something that I've experienced. Anybody got anything else? I was thinking about. I watched the Tech Moan video on. I was very surprised that the modern consoles couldn't play CDs. I had assumed that if they'd got an optical drive, they could do. And what was the other one? Recordology had a record player with a Duff stylus, but they supplied a really cheap mechanism and a record weight, which was quite interesting. And I haven't seen what Westlife has done this week. I shall just have a quick look now, I guess. There. Do. That's not where it's meant to be. 49 more. I still haven't sorted out that video recorder, by the way, because I've been tied up with other things, and life sometimes gets in the way. Westlife, what's he done? Oh yes, that was really interesting actually. The Westlife one, 8-track player and cassette player in the same machine and on the same slot, which I thought was pretty good. It's an American device, obviously, but yeah, it looked pretty good. Right, let's go back to there. And I think that's about it, really. As far as other people's videos are concerned, covered mine. Anything anybody like to ask, say, or do? It's just down to the three of us, I think. So I shall sort of just have another swig and see where we go. Talking about, this is where I find these things irritating. Andrew Hyde, you mentioned the Italian gentleman. I watched one today. It's another 25-30 minute one, and it's all about tube amplifiers. Well, a particular tube amplifier, and it started off fairly interesting, except that, again, I didn't learn anything from that actual video that I didn't know in the beginning. It was all about the Mackenzie 30 watt amplifier. Oh yes, I did that. Kelvin says it's the ChatGPT's description of a dragon is amusing. Yes. It says it with such authority as well. I managed to get Bing can draw pictures for you for free. I got a lovely picture of a dragon, but it wasn't a dragon cassette deck. I actually said to it, can you do me a picture of a realistic picture of a dragon cassette deck? Nakamichi, in fact, I actually said Nakamichi dragon cassette deck. And I said, and have a little baby dragon sitting on top. More CD related stuff from Tecmo coming up, Kelvin says. Good-o. Yeah, anyway, it produced a picture of something that didn't look very much like a dragon, but a beautiful picture of a dragon. I don't know if I saved it. The actual baby dragon. I'll see if I can find it. You might find it of interest. I can't remember what I did with it. So, very quick look. Boom, 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 boom. Signal noise. Screenshot. That's right. I asked it to find me a picture to make me a picture of somebody using an ear trumpet, and it said it couldn't do that. But it said it was more than happy to find me a picture of one, and it did, which was quite good. Let me think. Where did the pictures go? What was it I was trying to do? Was it that one? No, it wasn't there. Must be under there. Just give it a few seconds. I'll see if I can find it. You'd like it if I can find it, and this is genuinely drawn, if I can find them, by Bing, presumably using ChatGPT. Let's see where we go. It's not that one, or that one, or that one. No, well, I'm not going to be able to find it quickly. I'll have to find them for next week, because they were quite good, I thought. Very cute. My daughter went, but no, I can't find them at the moment. It did the thumbnail for what my latest video was produced by AI. Yeah, which was quite good. Right, Andrew Hyde. Track cassette combo unit. Yes, trying to find the right belt for this thing now. Millimeter one. I find repair videos are more interesting, like 12 volts or Video 99 UK. Yeah. This D6 is like a baby dragon. Yeah. The repair ones. I've got a video recorder I'm going to try and repair, and I've done a couple of like boombox things or whatever. Very difficult to do repair videos because the camera gets in the way, which is a bit of a problem, and it's so it's not as easy as it. You know, the people who do these, you have to give them credit for it, because it's not easy at all. Right, okay, so yes, the WMD6 is right. It's a nice piece of kit. I think, based on that, I think I shall call it a day now. We've only had 44 minutes this week, but that's because it started half an hour late. And we'll give it a miss after this. Unless anybody's got anything finally they'd like to say or ask, or if there's anything you would like me to look out for next week, then I can try and do that, do a bit of research. It's not a problem. And anybody who's watching this, I do apologise to everybody, and I thank you guys for hanging in there and coming back. The fact that this was I've no idea why. I haven't done anything to make it work that I hadn't done originally to make it work, and it didn't originally work. So it makes no sense to me. I had high speeds up, high speeds down. It must have been basically in the street, somewhere between me and YouTube, but not actually between me and the internet server that I use. So strange, really strange, just out of interest. Yeah, it says here that everything's stream status is excellent, it says on there. So whatever it was that it was, it isn't now, and so anybody else later on today will have a fine job of it. Anyway, okay then, chaps, and anybody else who's watching, it's 21:17 on the 21st of the 6th, 2023. It's the summer solstice. It's the longest day, shortest night, and it's all downhill from now on. So I'll catch you another time, catch you next week. Hopefully we can have it without so much problems next week, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much for coming. I do appreciate it. It does mean a lot to me, the fact that you bother. And yeah, we'll take it from there next week. Thanks guys. Cheers.